I am so honored to have the opportunity to interview Kim Muench. She's a JAI Institute for Parenting certified coach who specializes in working with mothers of adolescents aged 10 to 25. So I fit that category. I have an 18-year-old and a 24-year-old. So I'm really excited to hear her perspective. And we both share the same passion, educating, supporting, and encouraging parents to raise children with the intention and guidance rather than fear and control. And I've been in that fear and control mindset where you just get worried about what's going to happen and what you can do. And as moms, you believe you are like superwoman and you're going to do this by yourself at the same time as panicking. So I would love to hear about your perspective on dealing with learning distance fears and what parents can do. We both have, everyone has their own mindset, but I love to hear, especially since you are just an expert at just handling all of these ages and
Well, I don't,
past decades.
expert is a loose term. And if I'm an expert at anything, it's that I'm practicing my parenting. I have 5 kids, and my youngest is my only daughter. She's 15. And then I have a
Wow.
17-year-old, a 22-year-old, 26-year-old, and a 32-year-old. And really, I mean, I've been through a lot in more than 3 decades of parenting, as all parents go through a lot. However, none of us has lived through anything like this current condition. And being asked to teach and educate on top of building a relationship with our children has a lot of parents, in a panic and fear mode, and certainly myself too on occasion, in and out of that. But overall, what I truly believe, Karen, is that it's our attitude as parents that's going to be the most important thing as our kids progress in school this year, in terms of not that we have to know it all and we've got to impart all of this wisdom and know the geometry and know how to, all of the correct English skills and whatnot. It's really our role right now is to be in relationship with our kids and to understand that it's going to be okay. Like, they're going to be okay. And if your child isn't getting the exact same education they would in any other year, what they are getting instead is the ability to build relationship with you, and to also, I think like my kids, both in high school, like I said, my youngest too, and they're like learning other things about the world. They're in all of that goes to their development. So if they're not learning the right academics this year, the opportunity to learn about the world around them. So if anything, as a parent, again, your attitude is the most important thing that you bring to the table with the way the school year is going to look, virtually or otherwise. And, giving them opportunities to learn about the world around them in a different way that maybe isn't the academics sitting in front of the screen, learning all the right verbiage and all the right facts and that kind of thing. Possibly this year is going to clearly deviate from that, but it's what we bring to it that will be most important.
I love that. And I totally agree, because I think sometimes academics, we think that that's the most important thing. But like you said, there's so many other ways, right, that children can benefit.
And they've got to be
from.
excited about learning. I mean, I personally don't care all that much about what my high schoolers are going to learn this fall. It's more that they get excited about learning something, and that they're doing something, even if it's creative. And my daughter is trying to figure out how to paint a checkerboard on one of her walls in her bedroom. Not really excited about the idea of that. However, I know the math and the measuring involved in that, and figuring it out is a process that is excellent for her to be going through to learn that. So hopefully she gets no paint.
Wow, that's a fun project, because not only will it be, and I love how you said it's just learning, and your daughter's going to have to figure out, right, all of the process and making the squares and doing the lines straight and finding out what
Mhm.
colors
And
and
cleaning up her mess and all those things, you
exactly.
know? I mean, so learning's going to look a little different. But
Mhm,
again, it's about us as parents adjusting to that and not getting so caught up and so much in fear of what they're going to be lacking. But let's
mhm.
look at what they're going to gain. What areas they're going to gain. And I know we've all been home with our kids, you know, for several months already, and it would be kind of nice to have a break. But the reality is, in the grand scheme of life, this is a very short window of time. And so why not make the most of it and build the relationships with your kids for sure? That's what I've been trying to do.
Do you have any tips on how parents who don't get along with their kids, you know, during this time? I notice I have a lot of parents. Or did you log on? Are you going to, you know, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. And it's more of, it's not very
The power,
motivational.
like
Yes,
like
yes, yes.
controlling. Okay, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because I work with parents of adolescents, so this age range where, you know, teenagers, parents can white knuckle it through these teen years a lot. I say, you know, you can come from a place of trying to control and power over. How's that working for you? Generally, it doesn't, unless you have a very compliant child. And what happens then, even if you have that compliant child through the teen years, you generally probably will not have a great relationship with them as an adult, because while they may be super compliant, you know, they're going to be done with you, you know. And that's not what we want. We're in this thing for the long haul, and our children really can teach us just as much as we teach them. So I guess parents, what I want to say there in terms of wanting to control is, um, I think you're going to strain the relationship. And the most important thing we have with our kids is the relationship, which is not friendship. It just means being in good relationship, having the rules that need to be in place around things, but also giving our kids choices. We have to give them some choices, and for them to decide how they're going to present themselves in their work. Okay, you know what, this is an expression of them, and maybe you don't always like it, and maybe they're not as motivated as you know they can be. That's one of the
Hmm.
most frustrating things as a parent, right? Is like,
Right.
we see so much potential in our children and yet they're not doing it. But it may or may not be on your timing. When I think about, you know, when you know, kids don't always check all the boxes and do all the things that we need them to do at exactly the right time. So rather than be in a fit about controlling them and making sure they're doing all the things, step back, recognize who your child is. They have strengths, they have weaknesses, and work with that, who that child is presenting themselves to be with you.
And have you worked with children as well as parents?
I typically will, I start 90, probably 98% of the parents I work with are moms. Moms are the ones that are, you know, usually coming to me first. Then we'll bring in dad when we work on values and boundaries, because you know, having two parents on board is really important. And that also can bring in the teenager at that point, because there has to be, I think, as our kids get older, there has to be more buy-in on their end. They have to feel like they're a part of the process of things. Because if we
Hmm.
just come to them with a whole bunch of rules and this is how it's going to be, we all know that looks like control, and that kids think that stinks. So
Right.
again, it's to get their opinion on things as they get older is important as well.
So do you find parents like compromising, or how do they find a medium so that?
Yeah, I think it's really important, again, to be able to find a middle ground, that parents might have to, you know, come down a little bit in the expectation, and kids then raise their level of ability, you know, to meet that. So it's that middle ground. I think that is really important. And then also with parents, sometimes you've got to let kids try some things to see if they have the responsibility level, right? This whole, it's like a tightrope walk. It's like you
Yeah.
give a little bit to see if they're ready for it, and if they're not, okay, then, and you recognize that during our childhood and even as adults, we're going to make mistakes. You just have to expect that. And you know, that kids learn from them, that you allow those natural consequences of their choices to follow through, and not just go in and save them from it, you know.
I think both you and I have encountered parents who just, they need to prevent the mistakes, right? They need to look at the assignment, make sure that it's completed correctly before they turn it in. What's the best tip for parents who just cannot accept the C grade or the B grade, and they feel that the only acceptable grade is an A? I'm sure you've encountered.
I would say this.
Right.
This is what I say to, you can be right or you can be in relationship.
I love that.
And at the end of the day, that relationship is invaluable. So ask yourself, am I willing to sacrifice the relationship to be right? That doesn't mean we shouldn't have expectations of our kids and we want them to do their best. Okay, please don't mistake that. But also to be so hard and fast to a certain level of what they're, and that it ruins your relationship with them is
Yes.
completely, in my opinion, not worth that extreme going to. It's just not worth it. And our kids need us. Our kids need us all the way through their lives. And it's just really important that we continue to build that relationship.
So true. I think, do you find that sometimes parents just get too into, not the relationship because their focus is getting the grades so then they get the scholarship so they can get into college, and they have this very unrealistic plan?
Yeah, and I do understand college is incredibly important. We've had kids, like I have been there myself. So I understand the idea of wanting to push because, scholarship is incredibly helpful. But again, you have to recognize who your child is and work to their strengths as opposed to who you want them to be and running your agenda through them. And that really takes a lot of emotional maturity on the parents' part to be able to look within themselves and say, what am I doing here? Like, am I pushing too hard, that I'm ruining this long, relationship with this child in the name of getting them into X school or, getting the scholarship. And again, it takes a lot of, the parents that I work with are those that are willing to look at themselves and make changes in the relationship that then affect their children, because you can't change somebody else, right? You might really,
Right.
really try hard and they might be compliant for a while, but you're going to have resentment and things that build up. And it's about when you change it ripples out into the relationship.
So, what can you close with one of the most challenging parents? Because I think every parent can relate to that. Oh my gosh, I think I'm hopeless. I don't know if I can, you know, can I fix this? And we can't, like you said, fix
That's
children,
right.
but
That's right.
overall, what do you think the parent who feels hopeless right now, what do they, any words of encouragement so that they know that hope is not lost?
Oh my goodness. There's always room for hope. It's never ever too late to work on the relationship with your children. I've spoken recently to a number of parents whose kids are either married, adult children, or in their 20s and they've come home because of this current situation and they're
Yes.
trying to navigate that, what that looks like when a kid has been in their own apartment in college for a while and then they come home and how do you navigate that? That's a whole different subject. But I would say it is never too late. There is should never be a loss of hope, even when things look really, really grim. And it's about you looking at yourself. It's more about the parent than it is about the kid. We want to make it about the child and
Right.
about the thing out there, but it's really about us and asking yourself, in all honesty, what are you willing to look at and to work on in order to create a relationship that you want to have with your child.
I love that. Yeah, I think everything you said, I totally believe in. I mean, I've learned, and I think with 5 kids, I can imagine we are forced to learn these major lessons:
Yeah.
patience, tolerance,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
realizing that, like you said, it's not all about us. But isn't it strange once we choose the relationship rather than being right or our own agenda, it's just so much less stressful. It takes a long time. I took a long time to
Yeah.
get to that point.
Well, and that also has to do with the way that we were parented, and I could go on
Yeah,
about that. But
exactly.
it's shifting what it looks like to be a parent after generations of parents have been, you're seen and not heard, or you perform to get love, and really it's shifting the idea that our children come through us, but not for us, except for the lessons that they reflect to us during their journey in an effort to grow us up along the way. So this parenting gig is
Yeah,
an everyday self-development opportunity.
definitely. And I don't know how you did it. You are an expert. Anyone with 5 kids.
Well, and I've been through some challenges. My oldest is 10 years sober after a major addiction to alcohol. So that's kind of what prompted me into the work that I do now. And that's why I say so important to have relationship with your children and good connection with your children and open communication, and all of those things and boxes and getting the certain grade mean nothing if your child is on a path of self-destruction.
Definitely. What was the book? I remember 2011. Can you share that book and how people can get it, or if they want to reach you?
I'm working on my second book at the moment, but the first book that I wrote is a memoir about becoming a mom as a teenager and my walk through addiction with my son. And it's called My Mother's Footprints, a story of faith, calm, courage, patience, and grace, which are 5
Wow.
things that each word represents one of my children, what I learned through them. So,
Wow.
and that can be gotten through my website, which is reallifeparentguide.com.
I love it. And do you have Instagram or Facebook?
I'm on
Can they follow
Facebook.
you?
I'm on Facebook at Real Life Parent Guide, and then on LinkedIn. I have to tell
LinkedIn.
you that, yeah, most of my audience is on Facebook. That's my kind of niche. That's what they use. So I have
Hmm,
not
hmm.
ventured out into other social media things. There's
I
just
think
only
a
so
lot
much time, right?
it is very time consuming. I know I'm trying to because a lot of the businesses are doing it, but yeah, I think a lot of adults do the LinkedIn and Facebook. And do you have a group so I'm sorry, it's real, can you just say the
Sure,
real?
reallifeparentguide.com. And that's only one L in real life. So reallifeparentguide.com is the name of the website. And I actually do have a group that I facilitate through Meetup called Moms Empowering Moms. We meet on Zoom once a month, and it supports moms of, again, kids who are 10 to mid 20s. So it's really been great because we used to meet in my hometown face to face, and then with the COVID, we're now meeting on Zoom. So it gives an opportunity for a global audience of
Wow.
moms who come together once a month to really get real and authentic about parenting adolescents and what it looks like. And because when our kids are little, there's a little bit more community and camaraderie among parents. I think as our kids get older, we start to isolate, we get busy, we don't connect with other parents, and this is a very important time for parents to be connected to one another. So Moms Empowering Moms is what I run, and again,
Wow.
it's
And
once
so
a month.
any mom with kids
Any
10 to
mom or
25?
anyone in a mom role, yeah, who's got, stepmoms, foster moms, whatever, just kids in the realm of 10 to 25.
Wow. Well, do you have certain dates, or do you just have that in your Facebook?
Our next one is August 17th. So we do it the third Monday of the month from 7 to 8:30 Central Standard Time in the evening. So
Oh,
I
in the
don't know what
evening.
that, I don't, yeah,
Perfect.
I
Yeah, so
don't
it's
know what
not at
that
6
looks like for
a.m.
you.
Much better than 6 a.m.
Oh.
Well, I will
Well, you look great
definitely.
for 6 a.m.
Oh, thanks. Well, thank you so much, Kim. This was so informational, and I think that you are doing such a great service to all parents. I mean, especially during this time, we need parent coaches. I think this is what drew me into this field. And when I saw you, I thought, oh my gosh, I would just love to just connect with you. And I
I
want to get your
appreciate
book.
that.
And
And I love, I'm very passionate about supporting and encouraging parents, but also love to have the opportunity to speak about it as well. So thank you, Karen.
thank you. Well, take care and have a great day. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this for me. And I will see you on your meetup.
Yay!
Okay, bye.
Bye.